Monday Night Chat with Wong Chen.
Brought to you by the Member of Parliament for Subang.
Hi, welcome to Monday Night Chat, episode 74. I'll be doing a policy section focusing on economic issues and then answer Q&A for this week. Hi, for Policy Monday this week, we're going to talk about economics, basically what has happened since COVID-19, what people term as the new normal in economic terms. This week, we're going to give you the overall view, and then the following 3 weeks after that, we're going to go to individually focus on different sectorials. So, this is the new normal economic policy and thinking and also practices that is happening at the moment. First, when we look at economic issue or we look at the economy overall, we can split this into three groups. Theoretically, just two, the public sector and the private sector. But I usually like to split the private sector into two more parts. One, the private sector regarding production of goods, and then the other one is private sector regarding the production or services rendered to people. Yeah. So we start by splitting up three things: public sector, which means government and to some extent NGOs as well, and then second part of the economy, production of goods, and the third part of the economy, production of services. Now, government. The government plays a big role in Malaysia. In most economies where we have a developmental state model, basically where the government intervenes a lot in development and the economic sector, the Malaysian government has a large public sector with 1.6 million civil servants working in there and a budget of 300 billion a year. 300 billion a year. Our GDP is about 1.6 trillion. So 300 billion a year is significant. It is roughly 1/6 of the total GDP. So the government plays a role in the economy. Now, what is the new normal or economic challenge for the government? We will go into detail, but roughly speaking, the government is going to face a fiscal crunch, serious fiscal crunch. That means they are going to run out of revenue, because when the economy doesn't do well, the government revenue drops in terms of income tax and also the oil and gas price. Okay. Number two, the production of goods. Production of goods. Malaysia is a big exporter nation. We export, we produce palm oil and we export close to about 60 to 80 billion of palm oil a year. We are a big manufacturing sector. We may not own the manufacturing plants like Sony and Huawei and all this, or Dell and Western Digital, but we are still a manufacturing sector for many of these multinationals. So something has happened in the new normal for the manufacturing sector. That will be another segment on that specifically in 2 weeks' time. And then lastly, service sector. And service sector is where we have seen a lot of hits by the COVID-19. And this is a global phenomenon. Tourism, for instance, is facing serious problem. Hotels, tour guides, flights, transportation, all these sectors are facing severe downturn. Of course, with the summer holiday now starting in Europe, there is some pickup, but overall, tourism sector is badly affected. Now, tourism sector may employ close to about 3 to 5% of the total workforce, so that's also a significant number. But the overall economy has been slowing down in terms of services and production. So what we're seeing is potential for high unemployment rate creeping up in Malaysia. Malaysian unemployment rate is roughly 3.5% a year on average. That could go up to 6 to 8%. That's my best conservative estimate by the end of this financial year. So those are the issues we'll see. The three new normal is government tighter spending. So on the public sector, less money. Number two, on the production center, big changes are coming, globalization versus localization, and production has dropped quite significantly across the world. In China, about 70%. Malaysian numbers are not out yet. And number three, on the service sector, you are facing unemployment, and certain sectors are really badly affected. Now, all sounds very negative, but believe me, this is just a process, and I'm still very hopeful that we can recover from this. because by the looks of things in the last couple of weeks, it looks like Malaysia has been extremely lucky and that the COVID-19 has been as serious as most countries in the West. That's it for Policy Monday this week. Hi, for Q&A this week in 120 seconds. I have 5 questions prepared by Ivan. We're going to start the clock now. Number 1, question 1. Workers in a hospital were arrested for union activities. Now, my position is very clear. These workers in hospital are facing tremendous risk from COVID-19. They're cleaning up all the mess and stuff. They should be rewarded better pay. I think these are additional risks we take. We should pay them better. Therefore, I hope the government will take a more lenient position, drop the charges against them, go back to the negotiating table and pay them better. They are doing frontline services for us. Number 2, spike in COVID cases in detention centres. We saw this happening in Singapore 2 to 3 weeks ago. So therefore it is expected as well that the migrant community, which I think has been overlooked most of the time by health services, are now facing these spikes in detention centres. The most important thing is to ensure that they are given fair and equal treatment, because we cannot go ahead and combat COVID-19 without treating all workers in Malaysia, including migrant workers. Okay? Number 3, AirAsia layoffs. This is expected. The airline industry is hit right across the world. The question is whether we should bail out or not. I'm not sure, but in UK they've rejected bailing out Virgin. Okay? So if this matter comes, I'm going to incline towards not bailing out, because if you bail out the airline industries, it's going to cost a lot of money. But what about the other companies out there, the SMEs? Okay. Number 4, reopening of schools. I agree the position where primary schools should not open. You should open up the secondary school where they're facing exams, SPM and stuff like that. That's important. And lastly, Black Lives Matter, the George Floyd incident in Minneapolis. I'm actually very shocked by Donald Trump's position. While we don't want to interfere in other countries' business, I think it is long time in coming that something should be done permanently to at least fight discrimination systemically in the US and also the world. That's it for Q&A this week.